Let's go, let's go, let's go. Alright, people wanna hate every day, it's okay.
My name's Jesse May. I lived life on the edge from the age of 13 till 21, which eventually caused me to have to serve time in federal prison. These stories are from that time, my time in prison, and my life after as I built my business. I don't condone or recommend any of the reckless behavior I took part in during my younger years. But if you'd like to hear the whole story, like and subscribe. Reckless Success.
Let's jump right into it. So, one day, I'm living where we called up on the hill.
Where we first met.
Where we first met, yeah. That's a good story, too.
But not today's story.
Okay. So, I'm living up on the hill. And one day, me and my roommate sitting out in the yard, and this guy we know drives by. There was two twins, and they were Israeli guys. And they were real short. They're only like 5 foot tall. So this guy,
were these older guys? They were like,
yeah.
How old were they and they were your friends? Like 50, 60?
Yeah, they were probably 50, 55.
And you're a teenager, 18 maybe, or
no,
older?
I was probably 19, 20,
okay.
somewhere in there.
Okay.
But all my friends are 50 at that age. And so he pulls in and he starts telling us, and we didn't see this guy very often. And he starts telling us, he's like, next week on Tuesday, so-and-so's getting raided. And we're like, that doesn't sound good. And he's like, on Thursday, you guys are getting raided. And we're like, man, okay, that's interesting. And he leaves, and we kind of talked about it. And we're like, you think he knew what he's talking about? We're like, nah. And then I got some good stories about this guy. So we're like, nah. And then come Tuesday, the person he said was getting raided on Tuesday got raided.
No way.
Yeah, man.
Like, how would he know? That's weird.
Because he told on us, probably. And then he felt bad.
He let him. Oh.
He probably told on us, and then he felt bad about it and came and gave us notice.
Oh, boy.
He was definitely working for him.
Oh, my gosh.
There's that slurp. He was definitely working for him. So he pulls in, tells us this. They get raided. So we had a fire pit in the back where we burnt trash. Just that's how we didn't have trash service. We just burnt trash. And it was probably 3/4 of the way full already. And we had a dog chained to a dog house. So where the dog was, there was no grass because he done wore it all down. And he tells us this. So we took everything bad we had that we didn't want, and we put it in that fire pit. We covered up the fire pit. We went and got my buddy's dad's tractor.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, didn't ask him, I don't think, either.
My.
I think we just go, like, our parents hated us at this time. We just show up and, like, get on their stuff, like their tractors, and be like, okay, bye-bye.
Borrow this at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And didn't you, this house on the hill, it's not like a regular house you rented and paid bills at. This is your friend's dad's home, right?
Yeah, so this is on my buddy's parents' land. Their house is the main house, and then there was this big lake. And then they had moved a house that used to be a mine house, or a mine wash house. So that was moved there.
I didn't know where that house came from.
Yeah, and we didn't have running water.
Do you remember that? I remember no
we
water
didn't have a
service.
bathroom. We'd go to the gas stations. We didn't have a fridge. We had a cooler. That's how we kept stuff cold. And we lived there a couple years like that.
Did not paying any rent for this, just basically
just my
squatting
buddy's dad's,
at your
yeah,
buddy's
squatting
dad's.
at my buddy's dad's spare house.
So sorry, you can get back to yours. So you stole the tractor.
So we cover up the burn pit that we threw all our stuff in and burnt. And then we dug a new burn pit. And where the old burn pit was, we put the dog house there with the dogs. So it looked like we tracked it all down, had it all
Pretty
flat.
clever.
Try to cover it, just make it look like. And then we threw trash in the new burn pit. Kind of burnt some of it, to make it look realistic. It didn't work. But so we know they're coming, so we burn everything. Thursday they're supposed to be coming. So we both make a plan. We're not going to be there. The house is clean. We're fairly clean. I mean, at that time, if you had an 8-ball on you, then you're pretty clean. Like you could swallow that.
Oh my God.
Worst case scenario. I mean, I'll puke it back out something. And so we're pretty clean, and there's actually a trailer court right across the field from where we lived. So I was actually at the trailer court because I knew everybody in the trailer court. I was their hookup. So I'm kind of watching the house. I'll be damned, here doesn't come SEG, which was Southern Illinois Task Force, the cops, all the local cops. They go up there and they raid the house, and I'm watching them from the trailer court. And my buddy, my roommate, drives by just this time. He's gone all day. We're separate. I'm in
He
the
probably
trailer court.
forgot.
I don't know
He's
where.
going
Yeah,
home.
he probably forgot. He's out smoking, and so he decides it's going to be a good day since he doesn't have nothing to do. That he's going to go pick up some materials, some illegal materials.
No.
Yeah. And then he's going to drive by just to check and make sure, or to see if anything's happened. He wasn't stopping. He was driving by. So they're raiding the place. I'm watching. Here comes my freaking roommate's car down the road. Oh, and this is not, there's no turns on this road. So, like, once he commits, you know, you can see him coming from afar. And I'm like, no, why? Right when the cops are there. As the cops are raiding, they see him coming, stop him, check him. He had a bunch of precursors on him.
What?
Yeah, which were illegal, you know, materials to use for drugs. So they arrest him. And I'm like, damn, that's not good. So they just get him on that. They raid the house. There's nothing at the house. This story's pretty wild, but there's nothing at the house. So they leave. Well, now I'm still squatting at my buddy's dad's house, but my buddy's gone.
He's
so
in
I got
jail?
nowhere to go. Yeah, but
Oh,
the
my
cops
God.
come. They take my buddy or my roommate to
So
jail.
you didn't have any contact with the task force or the police? Like,
No.
they don't leave a note? Like, what? I mean, they
No,
just, like,
they-
raided your house and turned it upside down?
They brought all kinds of stuff out of the house.
And they just left?
And there
See
was
ya?
nothing. We got
That's
them.
so weird.
And they brought a bunch of stuff out, but none of it was illegal. They just thought maybe they could trump something up.
That's just so bizarre.
And the whole
though.
time I'm watching, I'm looking through binoculars.
It's just a wonder that they weren't watching the house before this raid with binoculars, watching you
Watching
guys
us
on the
with
tractor.
No, they
dig the
did.
hole.
They did for 100%. They did.
Well, why didn't they
That's
dig
further,
that up?
that's
Oh,
further in
sorry,
the
sorry.
story.
I'm getting
Well,
ahead of us here.
They knew we'd done burn everything too, but so I'm watching that they raid us. Now my buddy's in jail, my roommate, for like, and we, you know, all we had was drug money. We didn't work at this time.
Right.
We were just, well, he actually did a little bit when he could get there, but so I have no money to get him out. I can't remember. It was a few $1,000. And the cops are on me hard. I just got raided, you know,
Yeah.
by the task force. So things ain't good. Nobody's calling my phone right now. So I go and I had an RX-7 car, which was a little turbo road. What kind of engine did it have? It had like a rotor, some weird engine. I blew it up. I ended up blowing it up. So it's in the back. And then I had that Chevy SS S10, the Vortec. Still having to go out and do my bad deeds to get money to get my buddy out. Now, the guy that was over the trailer court, he was like I don't want to say he was a preacher, but everybody, you know, he was a well-respected guy in the community. He might have preached a little bit in his day. So he knew my roommate for a long time. He's tore up that he's gone. He's in trouble. His parents are. So I was getting the money and taking it to the preacher. And he knew where the money was coming from. I think it was like more than a few $1,000. It was like 10,000.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm taking a few thousand at a time to this guy. And he's already like, he knows he didn't want to take the money because he knows I'm not working. I'm just like, hey man, you got to go get this guy. I can't go get him because I think the cops are looking for me, but I still don't got nowhere else to go. I did keep the house clean. But now my roommate had a long-time girlfriend. So we were all like best friends. When you met us, I lived there, and we were all best friends. So
You were the third wheel.
I was
always.
the third wheel always. Well, welcome though. So me and the girlfriend of the roommate are there, and this time I don't. And now I've been up for a couple weeks, working hard. I'm not doing nothing in my normal location, trying to get this money. At this time, I don't think I'd wrecked my truck. I ended up breaking that. That's where I lost the S10. Because I came up Reed Station Road. Remember how it used to curve? Now it's straight. They fixed this road to the casino.
Oh, yeah.
But it used to go up a hill, and then it would curve a little bit, and we'd jump it. And
Yeah.
One time I was going about 70, but I had lowered the truck. So before I'd jump it, and I could feel my suspension come up, and it was just perfect. You just glide, you know, maybe a few 6 inches off the ground or 3, but you could glide real far the way it was curved. So I had 2 guys with me. Like, this is the bad things you shouldn't do when you're young. But
Yeah.
we're riding this truck like it's a damn race truck. 2 guys with me. We've been out knocking on the farmer's product out in his field, doing things we shouldn't be doing. And I'm like, watch this, guys.
This is at the same time you're trying to make money for your friend? Or
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, we're just going wild. So
Oh, my
I'm like,
goodness.
we're coming back after a long day's trip. We went to almost Missouri to get this stuff that we needed to make more money.
The determination of people
Yeah.
in the crime world, though, it's kind of
Right.
impressive.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
We got lucky that we
Yeah.
didn't get shot a few times.
But your determination, like you said, you're doing all this to get your friend out, which is really
Right.
nice.
Yeah, I
You're
had to
just
get
doing
him
all
out.
the wrong
I had no
things, but-
options. This is where I live.
But
now
you
I
were
haven't,
determined.
I haven't seen his parents since this.
Oh no.
One more drink. I took a good one, so it lasts. So, me and these two guys that I really don't hang out with and didn't hang out with much then, I'm like trying to show off. I'm like, watch this. I hit this jump at 70. I just got my truck lowered a couple weeks ago. I haven't jumped it since then. I come over. I'm like, I'm going to hit 75, 80. And it was scary because it curved, but it curved back. But you like landed perfect in it.
No.
So I come over, and when I did, it came up off the ground, and when I landed, since I didn't shorten the drive shaft, it sent the drive shaft and split the whole transmission.
What?
Yeah, so
Oh my god.
like I just lose everything. I get it back home. So this is all going on at the same time. Now my truck's broke. My damn RX-7's blowing up. My truck's broke down. I ain't got no wheels.
Oh my god.
So I'm ready to take a nap. It's too much. I need to sleep a little bit. So I get back to our place and I pass out. And I never had any weapons or anything like that, but I did have one of those little BB guns, just that you
Yeah.
shoot at targets or whatever out in the yard. And it was in the couch. So, it was just in the couch. That's where it was. So I'm passed out. Remember, I have nothing on me, but I do have pockets, or I don't have nothing in the house. The house is still clean, but my pockets are loaded. I mean, I've got 100 Sudafed pills in this pocket, or maybe 1,000. I can't remember. It was probably 1,000.
Oh my
Now that I
gosh.
say that, I don't know, 100, whatever. In this pocket was like marijuana, all this other stuff. I'm loaded down in my pockets, and I wake up to a flashlight in my eyes. And the cops, there's a whole shit ton of cops. So we got raided 2 weeks before this. Now I'm taking the guy the money to get my buddy out. Here the cops are. So they got their guns drawn.
Oh
And
my
they're like,
God.
get your hands up. And I think for whatever reason, from being all strung out, that they're yelling at me about this BB gun. And I'm like, no, it's a BB gun. And thank God my buddy's girlfriend had seen it there and put it up somewhere
'Cause
safe.
you're gonna get it out.
Yeah, and I
Oh
thought
my
that's what they
gosh.
were like yelling at me about, and thank God it wasn't there because I was
You were
trying to
gonna
like
show
grab
'em?
it to show them that it was a BB gun, and my luck, I would have pulled it out and got
Right,
shot.
yeah.
Because at the time I didn't know they had their guns out. All I could see is lights in my
Well, and you
eyes.
just slept for the first time in a long time, so you're delirious, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd been up for weeks on this big run trying to get this guy out.
Oh my gosh.
So they get me outside. They get her outside. I used to sleep on the couch. She had a bedroom. So we both get woke up separate, same thing. They get us outside. I had only been sleeping probably a couple hours, and I'd been up on a hard 10, I'd say 8 to 10 days at
Oh
least.
my gosh.
So I'm out of it, and then they wake me up within like an hour, so I'm still out of it. I mean, I was horrible shape. Sad enough, I looked like a death camp person. I was so skinny.
Yeah.
It was bad. Pale. Yeah, I was like a skeleton. So they get me outside, and they got the dogs and everything. They got 3 sheriff dogs there.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm like, damn, they're coming in hard. And I used to sing whenever I would be doing this and be up for a long time. You don't remember that? I would sing
I
all
probably
the
wasn't
time
around you when you were
when
like
I was singing,
that.
when I was real bad.
I don't think I
Yeah.
spent time with you when you were all messed up.
Yeah, I was, by the time I met you, then I was straightened.
You were on
Coming out of
you were,
it.
Yeah, you were.
I was on the
starting
downhill.
To, yeah, come
Downhill of all these wild stories.
right. But go ahead.
So we're outside and I'm singing. The cops have got us separated, and she's over here, I'm over here. Now the whole trailer court where I watched them from last time is I can see them all. I mean, the whole damn trailer court looked like children of the corn down here at the trailer
I love
court.
their
The whole-
binocs.
they're standing out in the road. I mean, there's a crowd watching. I'm like, damn, they got me. And I did have enough in my pockets that I would have gotten some trouble. And they got me outside. They're walking the dogs right past me. I'm singing, that's my best friend's girlfriend. That's my best friend's girlfriend. And I would be like talking all stupid. And I was like, and she's way over there. So I'm singing.
my gosh.
I'm singing this
Like
out
a
loud.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
like,
changing
totally.
changing the song. So while the cops are inside now, this task force agent, he had it for me, and I actually knew a bunch of history on him just because, like I said, I was watching them the first time. I knew a bunch of stuff about this guy asking questions about me. So he actually drove our other buddy's Chevy truck. My buddy got a bunch of money left to him, or I don't know how he got the money. It was an inheritance or something. He went and bought a brand new white Chevy truck that matched FS Farmer Supply, because that's who had Van Hyders to do the stuff
my
with.
Gosh. Like intentionally.
Intentionally,
bought a truck.
he got a few $100,000. He went straight to the dealership, bought a white truck that matched that truck.
Oh my gosh.
Drives over there, first day, pulls in, hooks up to a tank, goes right through town. Bam, they bust him in town.
He just pulled off an
He just
FS
went-
lot like he was supposed to be there.
Yeah, he just drove right up, hooked
probably
up to
Sharpie
it.
marker
And I'm talking
FS
one of
on
these
the-
big like farmer tanks that you see out in the
Oh
fields.
my gosh.
Yeah, so he goes right through town. Cops get him. This seg agent sees that truck, and that was his truck.
That he now drives. That's
Yeah,
his
so
work truck.
he's driving my buddy's
Whoa.
truck, and this is the cop. So I know a lot about him. I don't want to get too into detail because I was out there, but
So you're singing a song.
singing a song. They're going in and out. I've got all the stuff in my pockets. The dogs are walking right past me.
That's
They
so
never
weird.
once searched me, and the dogs never got within, me to real life Luke over here 10 feet or so.
That's
but
so strange.
They
I
take him to
wonder
my
why.
truck, and they're like, I had a safe in my truck. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
I had a safe bolted in behind the seat of the truck, and it was a standard cab, but I never put nothing in it except cash. So they got the dogs jumping on my truck, and they're like scratching the shit out of it. I'm like, you guys are going to tear up my truck. I'm going to tear up that ass, but it's already tore up anyways.
Right.
Anyways.
Broke down in the backyard.
Yeah. So anyway, so they're asking me, they're telling me, they're like, so, and I don't remember. Yeah, this time. They're like, so what'd you move the burn pit for? Move the dog. They knew all of it, and I'm like, how do they know so much? But I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't got nothing. They're searching the house like crazy again, and there ain't nothing there. And while they're inside, out of the crowd, so it was tall grass, maybe like 3 foot tall, over to the children of the corn watching at the trailer court.
No one's mowing.
Well,
This
our
property?
yard was mowed like more than the field, so all of a sudden over here on the edge of the yard in the grass, I hear, Psst, Jesse. What? Jesse, I'm sitting outside. She's over here, and I'm like, yeah, what's up? And it's Bean.
It's one of the children of the
He's
court.
dead. It don't matter.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Rest in
Good
peace.
buddy. Rest in peace.
A point to be made. A lot of Jesse's old friends are deceased or spending 25 years to life in prison. So these stories aren't just all fun and games. A lot of people you hung out with are no longer alive,
Right.
including the guy he's talking about right now. So go ahead.
Yep. So, he's like, Jesse. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, I seen the roommate's dad at the park with the SEG agents and stuff.
He's like, get these kids out of my house. Or
yeah,
you,
so
not the
that's why they
girlfriend.
didn't have a warrant this time. They just come in without a warrant. First time they had a warrant. This time the roommate's dad's like, get
He's
this
probably
squatter out of
mad.
my house.
His son's in jail. Yeah.
So, it's good. That's that Deep Eddy's lemon, if I can say that.
Yeah.
It's delicious. So, he's like, I seen the roommate's dad at the park, so I tried to come tell you. So he came up to the house, and he's banging on the door, and he can see
were
me asleep
asleep?
on the couch,
Shut
and I wouldn't wake up.
That's crazy
So he's trying
that
to
you're that
warn me.
passed out. So he's trying to wake you up and can't.
Yeah, he couldn't wake
They
me
probably
up.
kicked the door in, the agents, right? Like,
They didn't even have to. I mean, the dad let him in. It's his house.
oh, he's probably like,
this
there he is
time.
asleep on the couch. Wake him
Yeah,
up. That's
I mean, he
crazy.
came in with the cops. Get him out of here.
Wow.
So they got me outside. I'm singing. Dustin, my buddy that's dead, comes over, tells me this. So then he crawls back off. And I'm like, all right. He crawls
It's like
back
the
in.
Serengeti. He's like
yeah.
a little lion creeping up. Like,
Right. He crawls back off into the weeds. And now this cop that's after me, and I used to do this with all these cops, I'd get little secret information all the time. And I would use it against him. Like I'd find out stuff from their sister or whatever. And she's telling me stuff on these guys. So anyways, he tells me this, and the guy comes out and he's like, they had found some like filters that were unused, coffee filters. It was nothing, just unpack it unused. And they're telling me that they've got stuff of mine that was left somewhere that they found, and they could get fingerprints off a napkin, and they're going to get me, yada, yada, yada. But they just can't figure out why they can't find me with it. So they're like, we're going to get you. And I was like, you think I didn't know about this? And he looked at me and he's like, what? And I said, you think I didn't know you were coming? I said, hell, my roommate's dad told me that he told you to come. I said, hell, he left you and he came over here and told me about it. And he looked at me like, what in the hell? Why would he do that?
What's going on over here?
I was like, you're getting in between a squabble is all this is, I was like, he came right here and was like, you got to get out of here. The cops are coming. So they're like, it messed him up. So the dogs never see it. They never search. They never pat me down. They searched everything.
With the worst police.
The worst
force,
police.
I feel like.
Yes.
And I think we have, especially on here, I feel like we have a lot of really great police force. So
dude, now at this time, it was like Barney Five was running the show.
It's just, I think it's almost like, I don't know if they're in over their heads.
We have great police now.
But I think that Southern Illinois got really bad in a lot of ways.
It was an epidemic.
It was an epidemic really fast.
So, yeah.
So I think they just didn't know how. Like they didn't have the
couldn't keep up.
training. They didn't even know what they were looking for. I mean, they did, but not.
Not when
on
I first
scale.
got caught. They didn't know what it was. The first time I got caught with it, I was about 15, and I got caught, and they had no clue what it was. And that was when it was just hitting our area. And then within 5 years, I could go down a street and the whole damn town was on the shit. I mean, everybody from anybody working anywhere, everybody that we knew somebody, and they were all on it.
And it wasn't even like it was frowned upon, but not so much, like in a weird way, because everybody was
doing
it.
Yeah. No, I mean, at first it was frowned upon until all of these people were coming and doing it.
But I think for the police, it's like they were probably so focused on raiding the house that it's like somehow overlooked. We need to look on his person, and if the dogs aren't alerting, that's why they assumed the dogs would jump on you if that was the case. Right. So if they didn't
these
alert,
dogs looked all mangy at the time.
It's really kind of sad.
So what got me out of this? Let's go back to this. So we're out back. We're arguing. What actually got me out of being searched, I'm sure that they were going to search, was another guy that we know. And I'll tell you who this is off camera. Another guy we know that he run from the cops hard. I mean, in cars, wrecking them, get out, run. He'd beat the cops up.
What?
Yeah. He just got out again from the high-speed chase.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
So they got a call for him that they got him. They needed the dogs. And everybody took off except me and the task force agent that was after me.
So this really bad dude kind of got you away with it at this point because he's done something awful across town.
Yeah,
and they're like, we got to get him.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
at this point in my life, I didn't give a crap about nothing. And so it's just me and him now at this point. And I knew some stuff on him. And I threw it on him. And it wasn't good stuff. It was about his mom. How the whole reason he was a law enforcement was because his mom had struggled with stuff. And I was like,
That's
dude, I
really
know,
sad.
because he was telling me, he's like, I know everything about you. I'm going to nail you. And I was like, I know everything about you, buddy. I was like, I know your mom. Yada, yada, yada. He hated me. And
That
I
makes
hated
my
him.
heart ache.
I hated him
that
at
you,
the time.
I hate that you were that person at that time
I do
and
too.
did that.
Oh, I do too.
Because you're such not that person now.
I'm not now.
So it's hard for me to...
At the time, though, it wasn't me. It was like...
I know. You
got
weren't
to
in the
think,
right
you're
mental
talking to
space.
somebody that hasn't been up in 10 days. I was out there, like, seeing...
Right.
I was seeing shit from not, being sleep deprived. So... And it was just... I truly believe when they say... Because I am a Christian and I do believe in God. And when they say that stuff's the devil and this and that, I feel like... that when you do mind-altering substances like that, and you're up that long, and this is the same with psychedelics. If you do psychedelics, which you don't, but if you do, or you listen to Joe Rogan talk about it, like you see a whole nother realm. And it's the same way with this drug that I was doing at that time. And yeah, so it wasn't me at all. When I look back, I'm like, who was that person?
Right. But you and this...
Me and this guy had it out, so
you and your
I
alter
don't care.
ego had it out with this guy.
He was trying me, so I was
And
going to
you
put
won.
it back. I mean, he was saying some bad stuff, too. He'd call me a little crackhead and stuff, So I'm going to talk about your mom.
Could like search you. But he still could search you at this point or do more. But he's probably, now you've gotten in his head. You guys are verbally arguing about like nonsense.
yeah.
So he's totally forgotten why
He
he's
left.
there.
He left with, "I'm gonna bust." They weren't looking for why they didn't search me that time. I don't. I just. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Because besides him, then you got to think back. Besides him, it was all the cops that I knew, the local cops. Because this is task force. This is like Illinois task force guys. They had a whole crew. But
So
then,
wait, this wasn't all. This was local police, or no? You're
No.
saying the other police you were dealing with were locals, except this guy was
except this
on
guy
task
on
force.
a whole.
Okay.
So like they're friends, but they don't know that me and these guys are also friends. Even though the local cops were local cops, I went to high school and stuff, or the year I went.
We're from a small
We're from a
area.
small town. We know everybody.
And it's a little bigger now, but back then you really
like
know
6,000
the police
people.
chief and the two other officers that patrol, and they know your parents, and even if you're bad or good, everyone's
everybody.
like close, and it's
Right.
weird. So it's just a weird vibe. If you're not from a small area, it might be confusing, but yeah,
Right.
even if the police are against what you're doing, they don't
They're-
want you to get in trouble. 'Cause
Yeah, they might
they've
they
watched
might
you grow up.
be, dating your sister or your cousin.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You might see them at Thanksgiving when
It might
you
be
go
your
there.
stepdaddy
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, it might be they might be hooking up with, who knows.
It's weird in a small town USA, but
Yeah, that's what happens in a small town.
especially a while back when it was smaller.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So he bounces out. I got my buddy back, my roommate. We finally got him back, and I guess that was it on that one. I don't want to get too far into
so in the
keeping
clear
going.
back-to-back raids and nothing happened.
Back-to-back raids. I'm still good. My buddy had a little charge for precursors, and that was about the downfall of living at the hill, though.
Oh, that's when it started to go down.
Yeah. Oh, well, I could go on. So they impound my vehicles. They did take my
Oh.
vehicles.
Why? Were they not
No,
registered or something?
they didn't impound them that night. So what happened was a couple days later, now I'm realizing that the dude who owns the house doesn't want me here.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happened.
He's
so,
out for ya.
Yeah, he's out for me. So I'd left. And when I came back, both my cars were gone, my truck and my car.
So he had them towed or impounded.
And I thought they got impounded. Because it's like night before I'm getting raided.
Yeah.
I come back and the fucking cars are gone. I'm like, damn, they took my stuff too. And so I just assumed, but I owed a loan on that truck. And I just assumed it was impounded. So I got my buddy back, started realizing it wasn't going good with his dad, and he pretty much ran me out of there. So then I moved on to the next couch. I was couch hopping at the time. But then my truck, I finally found way down here at this tow yard. He had it towed like 45 minutes away. So
Dang.
I did call around to the local ones when it was missing, and nobody had it. So I didn't think to call 45 minutes away.
So funny.
I find it down there. Somebody tells me. I go down there to get it. Now, it's got a transmission that's broke, so I'm not too hard up for it. And they wanted like $900. And I did try to go back and get it a couple days later, and the whole system was taken out of it. I went out to look at it. The tow company had ripped the system out of it. I was like, "Where's my radio and my subs?" And they're like, "No, that's how it was." Like, no, it wasn't. I mean, unless my buddy's dad ripped it all out, he might have. I
This
don't
is
know.
my stereo now, buddy.
So they wanted like $900. So I'm like, damn. So I go get the $900. I come down there and they're like, well, you can't just take the truck. You got to take the car too. Well, the car had a blown up motor. It was $900, storage fee and tow bill. So I called the bank, said, hey, your truck's down there at the tow yard. If you want it, go get it.
No way.
Yeah. That's where that ended.
And that was the end of the truck.
That
And
was
the
in.
bank
That was a
just-
nice truck. That's where the red S10 disappeared to. I had some good times in it, a lot of bad.
No, whatever
But
happened
let's
to
talk
that
about
truck?
something besides running from the cops and being bad. Let's talk about the good life, because that was the bad life.
This is a good point, talking about how you got your truck sent back to the bank, or you let them take it back.
Right.
Because, so going,
So then I had a repo on my credit.
yeah.
I mean, I was 19. To get the loan on the truck, I had no cosigner. But luckily enough, it was a small town, and I peddled a little bit of pot to the
Stop it.
the banker. And and then there was more connections.
I
The
was gonna
bank
ask how you got the
manager, she
loan.
was involved. So like I knew all the girls, and we're not talking like a nice bank. We're talking about like something in a strip mall. I don't remember what it was called. It's out
But I
of
could
business
guess.
now. Yeah, it was like a loan shark. It wasn't
The
a
interest rate
bank.
was 50% or
Yeah.
something.
Exactly.
But they'd give you the loan.
But they give me the loan. So
and you could talk them into it with no
so
credit.
I had a repo, and after that it really affected. So then I did clean up after that. A couple years goes by. We're talking 19. So by the time I'm 21, I'm pretty cleaned up, and this is still affecting me. This repo, I can't.
And you probably have I'm sure you had other bills or loans in this time period that were unpaid. I don't think the only bad
Just
credit
hospital.
you probably had.
No, it's just
Oh,
hospital.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the time, I mean, I was still young. I just got.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a checking account, so it's hard to get a loan. The only reason I got the truck was
Like, do
because
you
I was
take cash?
Yeah, they took cash. So.
But so you're starting out adulthood with bad credit, which Jesse's talked about before, keeping good credit for the point of having a business and paying your bills on time. So you can mess up your credit very young at 18.
Right.
And that might be scary. Like, well, my
you
credit's
can-
already shot. I'm never going to be able to
Once
have
you
good
lose
credit.
it, it's so hard to get it back. It's worse than losing your license. It's
think?
tough. Yeah. I mean, it's comparable. It's not worse, but
Limits you.
it limits you big time. So make sure if you take a loan out, you can pay that loan on time, and it's best if you can pay it off before it's time.
Yeah.
So
But so talking about that in business, so Jesse had bad credit, and even when he straightened up his life, he didn't really have a chance to rebuild his credit before he was indicted and went to prison.
Right.
And so when you came back, then I guess, did you still have bad credit, or does that fall off because it had been so long?
So it had been 7 years. I think at the time it was like 7 years. So if they turned it into the credit agency or whatever. And I don't feel like that the hospital bills affected your normal credit
I
or
don't
something
think they're
like
supposed
that
to.
at the
It's something
time.
different. I don't know for sure.
So I got home. When I was away, I mean, you could learn so much in there, and it's crazy to think that how much it helped me.
Mm-hmm.
You think because in the prison system, it's they're not there to really teach you much. They're just there to hold you. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of smart people in there. You can learn so much. And I learned how to fix my credit. So when I got home,
That's how you learned about the secured card. Was
Yeah.
somebody? I didn't know
Was
that.
while
I
I was
never knew
away.
where you came
Oh,
up with
yeah.
that idea, and I was impressed by it, but I didn't know because I had never heard of that.
yeah, I'd studied that,
Okay.
while I was away.
That's cool.
Because there's guys in there that know everything. They can tell you how to get 10 houses in 10 days and yada, yada, yada.
Because you were locked
'cause they've
up
done
with
it.
people, white collar crime, so
Right.
tax evaders, very wealthy people that had
Yeah.
made a lot of money, but also made a lot of mistakes.
Everybody
but they
I
know
was
how
locked
to
up
run
was
business.
rather running some sort of a
Scam or
scam or scheme or tax evasion or the same thing. They were moving meth, but you don't get indicted. The whole group of us, we all got indicted on conspiracy charges. So you don't get indicted.
I'm not included in that.
No, she's not part of the. You don't usually get that if you're getting the state charges too, which I did and have some very unfortunate buddies. Luckily, I never got caught on a state level.
Right.
Mine was fed.
I think because the state has to have physical evidence.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I had a bunch of buddies getting caught. I was just
Right,
too
and
fast.
you truly
Forrest
never
Gump,
got-
don't forget.
Truly never got physical.
I'd juke your ass. You'd be the
physical
cop, and you
evidence.
would be like, "Hey, Jesse," and if I had shit on me, I would just sixth grade football move, do a twist, and run. I was gone. It looked like Speedy Gonzalez running
Yeah.
across the field, just dust. So, anyways, let's go back to the credit, though. I don't want
Yeah.
to get back because I do have a good police chasing story that sounds like Speedy Gonzalez. But
So you
with
learned
the
about the secured credit.
secured line of credit.
Explain
So
that.
what I done, I got home. I had this. It's still on my credit report that I had a repo.
Really?
Even though it's been 7 years, it's still on there.
But it doesn't affect our credit at this point, though. Like, we have great credit, you and I, which I did it when we got back
This is what I
together,
did.
but-
Hold on.
Yeah, go
It's in the
ahead.
plan.
Oh,
So I get home and I got on the free website, Credit Karma. Okay, so I got on there. It's free. And then on Credit Karma, there's a spot where you can dispute these claims. And I learned all this while I was away.
that's cool.
So bam, I mean, I got home, I just got on the computer, creditkarma.com.
What?
I put in my social security number, all that stuff. It pulls up your credit history for you. And then there's a spot for dispute. So I go to dispute. I clicked on everything, and it asks you like 3 questions. Why do you dispute it? I don't think it's right. And it gives you like multiple choice options. So, I mean, if you just put 2 and 2 together, you click one and pick the best one, and it took every single one off my credit history.
Whoa, I didn't know
So,
that was a thing.
yeah, you can go to creditkarma.com, go to this, and this is, again, 2015 probably. I haven't been on there since then.
And it was old stuff, so it might not work for every case.
It was 7 years, yeah. If it's within that 7 years, but they usually keep it on your credit history, and banks look at that and they say, well, you got a repo.
And I just want to add that
I never paid $1 of it back.
Jesse and I, neither of us are CPA, accountants, tax professionals, bankers, lawyers. We have no training in these things. Anything we've learned is by learning as we go, people that we know. So we're not giving advice specifically. We're just sharing what we've done to help ourselves along. So I just need to note that we are not trained professionals in any of this business stuff we're talking about. We have learned by experience.
In the business stuff, we're not trained professionals, but in the other stuff, I was a trained professional.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. So you're on Credit Karma. You delete or dispute all these transactions.
Dispute them. They took it all off. This is all happening quick, within like a few days.
Wow.
I mean, I put it all on there, got back on there. It's like credit. So at that time, I had a flat credit history, which was worse than having bad credit.
Oh.
Because now it looks like I'm 30 and I've never had credit, so that's not good either. So now I need to build my credit because it's flat, which is like the worst. So I go to the Woodforest Bank and Walmart, or any of these like little chains Walmart's carrying, they're going to have these little banks. They'll do a secured line of credit. So I'm working a little bit, I save up some money, and I take $600 in there. I think that was the limit. And so I'd pay $600. I would get a credit card, basically a prepaid credit card, but this prepaid credit card come with 35% interest. So every month I would take that money right off. I'd go in there and pay them 35% interest on $600 plus $600. So it cost me $100 each month or something like that, 200. And I did that for 6 months, and that jumped my credit from flat credit score to like a 650 or something, to where I could then get a loan on a truck and stuff like that. So yeah, I went from bad credit and I fixed it all. And
that's impressive, honestly, because I think I'm lucky that my parents did talk to me about credit at a young age and paying bills on time. So I've always had, luckily, good credit and didn't have to work on rebuilding it. But I think a lot of people would think, like, once your credit's bad, that's just the way your life's going to be forever. And it really does put a limit on you, because credit's not just for, like, we don't recommend taking out a bunch of credit card debt or taking out tons of loans. Like, you don't want to create a bunch of debt for yourself, but having good credit opens up so many windows of opportunity, like for just different things. Like, even if you need to rent a place, they're going to run your credit. If you need to rent tools,
you want to rent a car, sometimes
a car. But if you're going to rent tools for a business,
right,
or rent a piece of equipment, they're going to check your credit before they let you rent anything. Even if you have the money, here's all the cash. Let's see how your credit is. Because I think it shows them, like, responsibility. Are you going to take care of this? Just different things. So having good credit. And I remember when we started in business and needed loans for equipment and other things, we really we never took out a business loan. We took out loans specifically for heavy equipment because it'd be really hard to save up that much money. But you were kind of shocked at, like, can we really just go to this banker? We had built a relationship with him and he helped us. We started slow and asked for this much money, and it was crazy because you're like, this is nuts.
But you got to have patience.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't, the first time we go to the banker and say, hey, we want to go get a $200,000 dozer.
Yeah.
We, we got a side-by-side or something, $10,000. We paid it off. Then we bought another one. We paid it off. So we got a couple small items to build a relationship, get to know the bank that we're working with. And then I think our first tractor was $26,000.
I think that sounds right.
It was the best little mini. It was a 337. 337
it was a 337
Bobcat.
Yeah. You got it off that farm and it smelled like
Manure.
cow manure when you brought it home. I remember.
Oh man, that was
but it was
such a good tractor.
Nice tractor.
We made so much money using just that one tractor. So off of it, so what ended up happening with us, what got us to start May Excavating was, I was working for other companies and I'd just been operating a little bit, but I knew that my grandpa had a business at one time. So I kind of looked up to that, and was thinking it would be cool to try it myself, but I'm still working for the man. I'm just
And
getting
so
a
was I.
check, and so are you. So we were just paying mortgage and bills and focusing on that, not thinking about starting a business. But we did have these two side by sides. Well, we had one.
One
We
at a
traded it
time,
in.
yeah.
Yeah. And
But it's eating up a lot of
it
our
was
cash
like-
flow because I mean we're working paycheck to paycheck like most people.
Yeah.
And so you know it was like $450 a month I think for that side by side.
Right.
And you realize you get a mini, it would be like $425 a month.
Right.
And that was our trade off. It was $424 and 23 cents. I remember the payment. And so that was like if I sell a side by side, do you think we should try this business stuff? And that's when we started talking about the business side.
Right. So from there we sold the side by side. It was our side by side, and we decided, okay, let's go buy a mini and see how this works out. And like Lesa said, the payment was a little cheaper, and it's gonna make me money.
Right.
Because the side by side every weekend
Oh
was
my
costing
gosh.
me money.
Everything.
We'd go ride and we'd tear up. I mean, all the time. At that
$1,000
time, the
here,
differentials
yeah.
were breaking left and right, and the axles, and it still happens, but not as bad, I don't think. So we got to the point where we weren't even riding the side by side. It's kind of a seasonal thing. So the mini starts bringing in a couple little gigs from family and friends. That's where you want to start. You want to hit up all your family. What do you got? Hit up all their friends. You're knocking on Edna's door from church back in 87.
And I think just word of mouth, like letting people know what you're doing. Like
Right.
we started a Facebook page, and I remember we sat there and we're like, what do we post on it? Like, what do we
Right.
say? We thought like a
Well,
long time.
And that's another
Didn't
thing. Like
even know what to say.
we talked about it, and we're like, okay, we want to start a business. So Lesa took it upon herself, which she's very good at all this stuff. So it works out, because if it wasn't to have a Lesa, then it would be real tough to do this for me. But Lesa started the business, and then she got it all legal. So I didn't know the legal end of it. She, started, got an FEIN number. She got her, what else we get? Insurance. I don't know what all the stuff. I don't even know what we've got.
It's that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah.
think it was securing the first tractor loan, and then I do all of the back end work, honestly. And checking, like you can Justin had talked about, you can check with the state for different business names. And so lucky for us, May Excavating was available. So, but you might try a few different ones because sometimes they're just not. But you can search and find out. So then once you find one, you pay. I think it's only in Illinois $150. I want
So
to say.
what site is this on? So you would just get online,
This is I think it's a Secretary of State's website. It's
just whatever state you're
if you
in.
Google like corporation or LLC search for your state, that website should pop up. And then, I'm assuming other states do what Illinois does, which Illinois is actually super functional, and you can search really easily for different name businesses. So then you pay to start your business. But again, you may want to speak to an accountant or a lawyer or someone about what type of business. Do you want an LLC? Do you want to
Right.
incorporate and then make it an S corp, or does it need to be a C corp? Or do you want to be a sole proprietor and just be like, Lesa May Excavating, Lesa May doing business as Lesa May Excavating? So those are questions you might talk to a professional about to decide, because we did. And we chose S corp based on what we worked out with our accountant, what he thought was best. So you could figure that out and then, register online.
And most likely, if you have a university anywhere close to you, you can call them and see if they have a program like
A small business development center is what our local university offers for free, which we didn't use them then. I used them for
Right.
the fish farm business more. But they help with business plans and helping you figure out all this stuff with a lot of free resources, which is nice. So doing that, and then lining up insurance, which that's another thing. Like sometimes you just got to call insurance companies. You might say like, this is a new business and I don't even really know what I'm looking for,
Right.
But that's their job, is to help guide you through it, and definitely get more than one quote. Cause like we overpaid one insurance company by a few $1,000s a year, and luckily someone else offered to quote us and I let them, and it saved us a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, you got to
You always
quote.
want to shop around for anything you get.
Yeah.
Don't buy the first thing you see.
And again, even with insurance, your credit matters. They're looking at your credit too. Because,
Right.
that all, for whatever reason, our credit system like that proves something, that I get. I mean, it makes sense, but people fall on hard times, so it's difficult. So
Right.
if you can keep your credit good and then work on rebuilding it if you've had struggles, like with the secured credit card is a good way, that's
So
going to help.
does that work the same, since that's the business insurance? Does that work the same now that So say somebody goes LLC, so would the credit for the insurance check their personal name, or would they check the business credit?
If a business is new, and this is again based on my experience, they will bounce it off your personal information.
Right.
So even if you go get a loan for your business, like whether it's for heavy equipment or tools or just a regular business loan, but you're a new business, so your business doesn't have credit on your FEIN,
Right.
they're going to have, you're like the guarantor. So they're going to run your social security number. And then our business, we can just base stuff. Here's our FEIN. They can run it. I guess their credit's just through that now. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, that's what I know. Most of the time,
That's
I
what
don't
an
even
accountant's for, or
exactly. I don't normally have to put down my social anymore. If we use a new bank for something, I think sometimes they'll put me on there just to double check, because they got to do their due diligence and make sure we're.
Right.
I don't know. They got to do their thing. So they'll run it sometimes, but I know they rarely run my personal credit anymore. Now that the business is so established.
Right. At
But
this
starting
point,
out, you and your business are one and the same. You got to help
Right.
limp your business along to get a name for itself.
and going for me personally, going from making 14 cents an hour at one point not long ago when I'm 29, to being able to use a bank and have a good relationship with them. You start out small. We got that first mini, 26,000, paid it off. And then, we picked up a skid steer, paid it off.
And I don't know that we've paid off every piece of equipment in its entirety, but we definitely.
Every time we get close, I go trade it in
Yeah,
for a new one.
yes. But we definitely made our payments on time, always. We have never, ever
missed a payment.
been even a day late. We're on our payments, put it on auto pay. You do whatever you got to do to make those
Right.
payments. I don't care. I mean, and we've had to do crazy stuff. Like, I've worked 2 jobs. I was waitressing and working an office job when we were first starting
When
all
we
this
first
out.
start.
And you were working full time and then on the weekends working for our own business. I mean, it's not easy getting started, just to make sure you have enough money to fund your business and have a little advertising money and pay for the fuel. I mean, it's not easy.
It's expensive.
But
If you're getting into this line, it depends on
I know, that's
what
true.
business you're getting into.
Excavation's
You may
different.
get into taking photos or something that's not
or
with
if you're a good
excavation.
carpenter, where it's cheaper
yeah.
tools or like paint or.
In Illinois, to drive you got to have business insurance on your trucks, on your dump trucks, on anything you
The
have.
tags alone are
the
thousands.
trailers. Just to
Yeah.
pull a regular 14,000-pound trailer, you have to take it and get it inspected.
Mm-hmm.
And you got 3 of those, and you got a dump truck, and you got 2 work trucks.
So excavation's
You're getting hit
heavy
left and
on the
right
expenses.
on the expenses.
But I do think, speaking about that, so if you're thinking about starting a business and it's in your interest, it doesn't hurt to go ahead, even though money's tight for everyone right now because the way the economy is. But if you can even get $10 a week back, and start saving a little nest egg,
Right.
so you've got a little cushion to
Yeah.
start your business, where you can maybe spend $100 to consult with an accountant, spend the $150 to start the business, that kind of stuff, and you've got it saved up, even if it takes
Right,
a
because
year.
even the tractor, when you go to the bank to get a loan, they're going to want 15-20%.
Something down.
They're going to want that down. So, it would help to have a little, in this situation, you got to have some money saved up, and you got to have capital. That's the main thing. You always got to have capital to keep growing the business.
And
So-
reinvesting as you start making. I would say for our first 4 to 5 years, we reinvested majority of
Right.
what we made. I mean, we both kept working a normal quote unquote job for several years, and yeah, I mean, I'm good. You've told me before that you like that I know how to be broke, meaning I know how to crunch numbers and shop discounts, and I'm not trying to go buy the newest clothes. I don't care about that if it's growing our business and looking to the future goal. And that's because I grew up, sometimes I didn't have a lot of money, and that's okay. And I've always
So
supported
basically,
myself.
guys, it's all in the women you pick. So when you're picking a woman, make sure you check all these boxes. Do you like to shop heavy? Can you cut back a little
Have
bit?
you ever struggled and
What's
do
your credit look
payroll?
like?
Yeah, no. But it is a mindset you have to be able to accept, because to start your own business, it takes years to be in this comfortable place where you've got all these luxuries, and you've got to be able to grit
Right.
your teeth and not care about showing off and buying the newest stuff. You can have a wonderful life without spending a ton
Yeah,
of money.
our first tractor was an open cab. I mean, we're out there in the winter time. We worked all winter
Yeah.
in an open cab mini, and just it's just what we had to do. So
Yeah.
until
Put on your
you know,
bibs and deal with it.
we had that first Mini that was open cab for 3 years,
Years.
4 years
I think
probably.
4 years.
4 years. So now I like to sit in the heat or the AC at
And
this
we
point. But we've
debated
worked
that.
our way
I
up
wasn't,
there.
I wasn't for that at first because they're so much more expensive. Like we have these kind of conversations of, do we really? Is it like this makes me sound horrible? I'm not in the equipment, but you've done it for this long. Do we really need to spend that much more on a cab? And we hash this stuff out. And sometimes we say yes, and sometimes we've said no. And even with work trucks, we don't go buy the newest truck that just came out. Like, you don't need that. You need a good truck that has decent mileage that can haul what you need to haul.
Every truck I've had, even my new truck that I have now, which costs more than a new truck,
It's a bad time to buy.
I buy them a couple years old. So if it's a diesel and it's got 50,000, I think that's what mine had on it, 50,
less,
40 something thousand. So in theory, we bought that one at a real bad time. Prices were up, but in theory, you should be able to get a truck, a decent truck that's not going to break down. That's a 2,500 diesel. Don't get a gas truck. With gas prices, they can't pull. They don't have the power. Once you get the diesel for heavy equipment, you can move around a Mini. You can move around skid steer attachments. I tell people, we actually sold a Mini recently to a guy, and I was telling him the first thing I would buy, because he's wanting to start a little business, and I said the first thing I'd buy is a dump truck, like a city Bob truck. You remember that truck we had?
Yeah.
That was such a handy
Good
little truck. Put a guy in it, take these attachments. You can put the attachments in the bed of it,
Right. So there you go. You're not wasting money. You have a truck that can make money, not just haul equipment and look cool in it. You've got a
Right.
work truck that can haul your equipment. Two birds with one stone.
And it was a rough truck when I bought it. That was another thing. That truck, when I bought it, sitting down the road, and it was a city truck, and it had salt damage. It looked rough. I mean, it was ugly. We bought it. I pulled it in the shop. We painted it. Remember,
Yeah,
we
I
painted
remember.
it.
Just
and
cleaned it up real good.
I mean, it
New
changed
hubcaps.
it. New hubcaps, little paint, some tires.
Fixed the mirror that was hanging.
It was
on
like a
the wall.
$3,000 truck,
Yeah.
or maybe $5,000 or something like that.
That's
But
cheap.
then we had some rust spots in the bed, and we had new metal put in for a few $100 from the fab shop.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. I didn't go buy 30,000 or 80,000. That would be horrible. I've always done that too. I don't want to buy brand new, because you might buy, which we are getting some new stuff now, but I'll buy something a few years old so that I can get other pieces that I need. I don't want to spend 200,000 on a Traco if I can get one for 100,000 and then have another 100,000 to use for a skid steer or something. But I know guys that'll go out and buy a brand new Traco right off the bat, and I'm thinking, you need a lot of stuff. You need to work dirt. You need a sheep's foot compactor, a dozer, a skid steer. Just so much stuff goes into it. You can
You
only
don't
do
tie
so
up all
much
your
with one
money.
tractor.
Yeah, and that payment's going to be huge, and it's tying up your credit. Back to the credit stuff, like they're going to look at that. How much credit do you have out right now? How many loans do you have? How much are your payments every month? And we have a great banker and a great relationship with him. But every year, he has me fill out a personal financial. He wants to know, what have you guys added on your personal life that he may not even know about, that we have loans on or debt on, or did you guys get new vehicles I don't know about? He wants to know how much we have in assets if I need to liquidate. What kind of mopeds do you have? I mean, I have to list it all out for him, because he's looking at how much are they bringing in money and how much personally and for the business are they spending every month, because that's the bank's job. He has to make sure.
And every year he's like, oh yeah, you guys are doing good.
But we are, because I think
Yeah.
we make good choices. We're not perfect, but I think we do make good choices with that. I think we don't buy the newest stuff. We try to spread our credit around what debt we have around. We don't have personal credit cards that we rack up to buy stupid stuff.
For example, we own some land, so we like to have a side-by-side. So instead, we could, if we wanted to, go buy a side-by-side, brand new, but they're like $30,000, and it just doesn't make sense for us. So we went and bought one at a fraction of that price that's just as good, does all the
Does
same
everything we
stuff.
want.
I mean, it's terrifying. It's a General 1000.
It's a good little
Yeah,
buggy.
it's a good buggy.
Yeah.
And instead of buying the $30,000 or $40,000 one, though I could right now, I'd rather that money go to making more
Business.
money, business. So
I think that's important. Just trying to keep your credit good if it's not building it, and making good financial choices. Like, don't be proud and try to brag and show that you have, and, overextend yourself to impress people that probably don't even like you.
Right.
It doesn't matter what people think. If they think you're driving a junky car or they think you have an old house, like, who cares? If you're taking care of yourself and your family and they're fed and the lights are on, that's what matters. And then, especially if you've got a goal and you're growing a business, that's what matters. You know your goal and your family's goal. You know what you're reaching for, and what the end game is. And it's making these sacrifices temporarily so that in 4 or 5 years, you're at this place where, like Jesse said, it's nice to know you could go buy all this brand new stuff, but you choose not to. Like, that's a good
Right.
feeling. And know that you're making good choices with the money you're working really hard for.
Right. And it also goes that when these steps, though we're not accountants or CPAs, these steps are what's worked for us. And I can tell you, by not doing these steps on starting a business, it doesn't work for 99% of the people, because I see people start up, excavating businesses or just whatever business you want, but they don't do it right. They don't get the FEIN number. They don't pay the taxes. And they always stay small, and they never do anything. They're always trying to
taxes. You got to have an account for your taxes.
You got to pay the taxes.
Insurance.
You got to have the insurance, because without those things, you'll never grow, because then you can't go to the bank. So I see so many people stuck in, like, they want to do it, but they don't do those steps. If you do those steps right there, hell, we should charge like $9.99. Take that back, real life, Luke. Let's put that money screen up right now.
With not growing, if you aren't insured and you want to go work with a bigger company on a bigger project and start growing your business out and doing more, no company that's large scale is going to work you as a sub if you don't have insurance that matches theirs, because they will get an insurance audit. And if their subs don't have insurance, they have to pay for you. No one's doing that. We don't do that. We don't work with companies that don't have insurance. They have to show us proof that they have liability, property.
Because if not, you'll get stuck. You could get stuck with it.
You absolutely do get stuck with it.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to pay I'm not paying for someone else's insurance. So that's going to hinder you and hold you back. So it's worth it to get the insurance, even though it's kind of costly. But when you're starting out, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
But it's just another thing you got to budget for. So don't blow your money on, like we said.
Yeah, just because I'm running a tractor at 150 or 175 an hour doesn't mean I get 150 or 175 an hour. That means in that 175, that covers the workman's comp, the payroll taxes, the insurance, the fuel, the maintenance on the tractor. You got to figure on a dozer, you're going to get, depending on if you're running on slopes and who's running it, you're going to get 3,000-4,000 hours out of a set of tracks that are $30,000. I've seen them in worse shape, but that's a good range. So yeah, and your tractors, you got to constantly be upgrading those, because when we started small, and I did buy a bunch of junky tractors in there. I'd get to where we could buy a little something, and I'd buy a junky tractor and I'd fix it a little bit and sell it and make a little bit of money. So I even flipped some tractors in there to get nicer stuff. As we started, remember that old tractor with the bucket on the front? It was like I don't even know what kind of tractor. It was like a 1960s.
Those guys delivered it in the rain.
Like Model Ford T or something. I don't know.
But we met them at like the church parking lot in the rain.
Yes.
Where they dropped off.
It was
gas.
Where they came from. The tractor was a gas tractor. And it was running. They came from like Missouri. They came from the next state over. And when they met me at a church, I traded them a trailer or something.
I think it was a trailer.
I think I gave them they gave me an old shitty tractor, and I gave them an old shitty trailer. And it was running on the trailer, so I unloaded it, and I got it out to our shop that we were just building. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of the stuff, we had nice stuff. I'll go back to that tractor, but we had nice stuff. But when we built our first shop, we didn't call a company and have them come build us a shop. We
quoted it. I quoted some companies, and it was a lot.
But what we done was we went to Menards. We bought a package, a kit, pole barn kit, and I don't know how to build pole barns. Nothing to do with it.
Neither do I.
Neither does Lesa. So we bought the pole barn kit, and then we used the rebate at Menards, which was like 11% when we bought it, for the electrical stuff that we would need inside the pole barn. Right. And then we just, we had because it's a
buddies.
small town. We had buddies that were carpenters that would take
Some
a
of them
little
had
work.
worked at pole barn companies in the past, a little here and there, so they sort of knew what to do. And it got done.
It
Took a little while, but we got it done.
didn't get done in a week, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
it took a few weeks, but it got done. It was a ragtag crew, but they did a hell of a job on it.
They did. It turned out
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Anyway, so we kind of generaled it ourselves, and then I had some buddies that poured concrete. We don't do concrete, but you know, I just called up the guy, and I knew his son that done concrete, and he come over, and I don't know if we got a great deal on any of this stuff or not, but compared to having a company do it, we did save probably 20 grand or something.
And there's like barter trade stuff. I feel like Jesse will do that. Like we can negotiate with people we know in industry. So like you do this concrete for this amount, and then I will come cut out these pads for you for way less, you know. So that's kind of fun too.
Right.
Once you have a skill that you can kind of barter and trade the skill
Right.
and the work.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, that was a good time. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up. You can follow us on TikTok and YouTube at reckless.success, or you can follow us on Instagram at recklesssuccess without the dot. Spotify and Apple Podcast for audio only. Spotify, you can get video. Subscribe and follow. Hit that like button. For more information about May Excavating, go to TikTok at May Excavating. All right, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks.